Yes. So a
Okay.
3PL is a third-party logistics warehouse. So it just means
Okay.
it's a warehouse who can ship single orders based on you asking them to ship a single order.
Okay.
Amazon FBA, so fulfilled by
hmm
Amazon, is Amazon's version of a 3PL, which is
Okay.
Amazon's warehouse. You ship bulk, they can ship for their orders, but also for someone else's order directly.
Wow. That's
So
really cool.
so when you do your margin calculations, you want to make sure you're taking into account shipping and pick and pack fees.
Okay.
You will make slightly more margin per unit shipping it yourself, probably to start with,
Right.
but you immediately get rid of anything. Because like a lot of the stuff we do in our business is busy work, and
Yes.
the more sales you get, the more you're just going to be sucked into doing this.
That's true, because I could spend my whole day just packing boxes, and that's
Yeah.
not cheap, because I just looked, to get custom boxes that fit the book, and I need to make sure it doesn't get dented and those kinds of things. And I went, oh my God, I'm spending $5 to get the packing material, for that. So.
And then you get into child labor. You get Reagan doing
it.
Right,
Reagan, poor God, she has her little. But Mom, stop! I won't feed her until she packs so many boxes. Yeah, that's
exactly.
Oh my gosh.
But Amazon will put it in their standard Amazon box because they'll want to market themselves. So, but at least it's done and you won't get dented because Amazon are amazing at shipping books.
Oh, they're so good.
Welcome to the Location Independent Startup Show. Here we discuss business, lifestyle design, personal development, and much more with some very special guests and experts who have been there and done that. Learn how to live life on your terms with me as your host, British entrepreneur and investor, John Cavendish.
Okay, so welcome back to the Location Independent Startup Show. On this episode, I have Dr. Ashley Wellman. Hey, Ashley.
Hi, it's so good to be with you, John. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming. And on this show, it's going to be a bit different from our usual structure. So usually what we do is we dive into either business models or interviews with people who already have a successful location-independent business. I was connected to Ashley through some podcasting networks, and Ashley is actually in the launch stages of a really exciting children's business, products for children. So it's a bit different. So what we're going to do in this episode is kind of dive deeper into more of an exploratory session, maybe stroke consulting session with Ashley, to kind of dive into the motivation behind the business, the mindset, the goals, and the numbers. Summarize and explore her current strategy, and then brainstorm ideas for growth and prioritize them kind of in an order for, basically how to grow this thing faster, how to take it to the next level. This should hopefully let others see what's working, what mindset that Ashley is cultivating in herself to get to this level, and hopefully some actionable takeaways for anyone watching. So without further ado, welcome Ashley.
Thank you. This will be great. I'm hoping that I learn a lot, and then we can share with your listeners a way to really turn a passion into something that can help you and your family thrive. So that's my goal.
Yeah. And talking to you before, I really respect your energy and how excited and how positive you are about everything.
Thank you.
So can you tell me a little bit about the business and how you started My Friend Fresno?
I would have never told you I was going to start my own business. So had you asked me 2 years ago, Ash, do you want to start a business? I would have said, you're crazy and run away. So my background, I'm actually a professor of criminology. And that's been something since I got my PhD in 2011. And I've been working with families of homicide and sexual assault survivors. And I've really been focused on trauma and working in the community to help those families and work with my students. I also would have never told you that in 2018, I would become a widow suddenly. My husband was 44 years old. I was 34. We had just moved to a new town to start my career. We form our lives around our career, or we form our identities around our career.
Yeah.
And in 2018, I had just moved my husband and my 4-year-old daughter at the time to a new city to start a new job. And it was the day before school started. So I'm actually right now, it's the day before school. And this was 2 years ago, the day before my very first day on the job. My husband collapsed in our home from a pulmonary embolism, and my daughter and I witnessed his death in our home. And in that moment, that world that I had known and my career that had meant so much to me, none of that mattered, right? It was just me and my daughter. And in that moment, we became different human beings. And for so long, my grief strategy was cling on to what you know. And my career was what I knew. So I was, my work was something that I threw myself back into. And I thought, if I can just hold on to that, I'm going to be great. Well, then some colleagues who didn't do so well with the widow in the department and kind of grief. It's uncomfortable. It's dirty. I actually got blocked from a job that I had moved here for. And my whole identity now was gone. Mother had changed for me. Wife had changed for me. Professor had changed for me. I'm still a professor now, but the importance and kind of the definition of who I was as a professor ended. And I thought, okay, I can either let that be who I am, and I can be traumatized and miserable and not be the mother I need to be, or I can start digging deep and saying, what kind of life do we deserve? And I really stepped back and I said, the one thing that saved me during that whole time was creative writing. I had a friend see a picture of my daughter dancing with a posable skeleton, her best friend. His name is Fresno. And he said, what is that? What a weird, I'm weird, so it fit. But what a weird picture. You know, you have this kid who's itty bitty, she was 2 in this picture, dancing with a terrifying object. And to her, it's beautiful. He's beautiful to her, and it's her best friend. And so he said, that should be a message you write in a children's book. And little did I know, October 2018, launched this adventure for me. When the job offer fell away nearly a year later, I marched myself down to the courthouse, filed a small business permit, and I said, you know what, that was something that was fun and helped me heal. What if it really did become this item that helped me soar, helped my daughter have a magical life, and helped other kids and families who are different realize that they're so special because of whatever makes them unique. Like for us, it's the trauma, and it's that my daughter, you know, lost her dad at 4. So she will always kind of stand out at certain events. But that means she's also really special. You know, like those differences don't have to set us apart. So I'm going to trust myself with help from people like you to kind of dive into this new adventure, because I think when you step back, life's short. And if you don't take risk, it'll always be that what if, you know, like, am I worth that? And I'm going to say, yes, I am.
Yeah, thank you. And I can't imagine what that's like. So, you know, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think it's amazing you've started this amazing journey based on such a horrific part of your life, but taking all this positive energy forward and like moving into this new business.
Thank you. He would have expected nothing less. I had promised him a beautiful life for his daughter. And so that can't change just because a roadblock comes into our tragedy hits us. She still deserves a great life. And as I'm progressing, I realize I do too. I think for parents and especially moms, you know, we forget that we also deserve a chance on ourselves, right? I tell Reagan she can be anything she wants. And then I've got to listen to that too, right? I've got to believe that I also can be whoever I want. And that's a really scary piece of advice to give somebody.
And I guess lead by examples, because kids just copy exactly what their parents do.
Yeah. I want her to know, try, right? You're worth trying. And if we slip up or we step back, that's okay. You know, and we reach out and you use people who know more than you, and you can always pivot. I just learned that, right? Life doesn't always have to pigeon us into these one silos of who we are.
For sure. And yeah, that's going to be an amazing lesson for the rest of growth of this business.
Yes. Yes. As I keep failing, I'm going to remind myself I'm worth it.
Yeah. I mean, it's very rarely a smooth sailing. And even when things get smooth, that's the time when we need to pivot again, because that's the next level.
Yes.
So, I mean, why this? So you could have started any business, you could have turned anything you wanted to in a business. Why this particularly?
Well, it's interesting you say it could be anything I want. Thank you for saying that. That's what I do tell my daughter. As an academic, we're told that there's really one path to success. So this is radically nuts for anyone in academia, right? They'd be like, what is she doing? We're told tenure track, this great career here in America, that's what is success. So I think for me, it became this thing of what really does matter, right? I know at 44 years old, my husband didn't wake up thinking he was going to die. And so there's this much, we're not guaranteed much more than you and me talking right now. And I stepped back and I said, I'm letting myself be sick and hurt by my profession. This is not smart. So I want to try to create a world around something that I'm not only passionate about, but I do think I have a talent for. And I think what drove me in that profession as a professor, helping other people, right? Bringing awareness to issues that aren't talked about. I still can do that. I just am changing the kind of venue, and the avenue that I'm taking to do that. So for me, as I'm thinking about like, am I going to step away fully from this career? You don't have to. It's just going to look different. I might be working with elementary kids instead of college kids. So for me, it was saying, what skills do I have that I love? What's my passion? What's my goal for health and happiness? And I thought, you know what, do it with something creative. For me, creativity has always kind of been that therapeutic healing mechanism.
No, that's amazing. But yeah, and that's, I mean, why this? Because, you could have gone to a products business, you could have gone into counseling or helping people directly, or consulting. There could have been many different types of business. What attracted you to doing the books and doing the products?
I think creating a world. I really wanted to create a world, because what Fresno had been for me was a way to escape right at night when I was in the middle of a place where I had watched my loved one pass away. He let me escape, and there was always joy. You know what I mean? And it was listening to my mind that said, this is what fires you, right? This is what makes you excited. And so by being able to create whatever world I wanted, to have complete control over it, there was just something. And I said, I've always written, I've always written very academic, clinical stuff. But what if I could write in a creative way and do that? So for me, I think it was really just listening to my heart. I don't know. I just had a deep intuitive idea to trust myself and do this. And
what let you give yourself the time to do it? Because I know a lot of people who want to start businesses on the side or start being creative, they make a lot of excuses, because I'm sure you're very busy. You've got a daughter, you've got a full-time job.
Yes.
Like, how did you eke out that time?
You have to fight for it. It's in the nitty gritty of, I had to prioritize what I needed most and what was important most. And so, yes, if I started this in October of 2018, and I thought, okay, it's going to be published literally, probably February. It's going to be so great. I'm literally, when it's August of 2020, almost 2 years later, I'm learning that yes, there is life that happens, but I've also said, okay, I have 5 things to do today. No one's doing Fresno but me. There's a lot of other things that we put our blood, sweat, and tears into, where we're replaceable, where, that's not much more than us checking a box for someone else. And so I've been somewhat, selfish or prioritizing. I have a business that I want to grow, and it is not a short-term vision. So for me, it's my health and my daughter's health. And then it's my business, because the rest of it also, I'm lucky because it's kind of on autopilot at this point. Like once you've done something for so long, you can kind of rely on your laurels for that. But it's sacrificing. It's telling people I can't go out, or, saying, okay, I have 4 things I want to do, or a show I want to watch, and saying, nope, I'm going to sit here with my computer and I'm going to write, and I'm going to work. I'm going to create something. So it's fighting to prioritize it, and realizing that whatever the timeline is, you can quadruple it for whatever you think the rate's going to be, because it takes a long time. Life happens.
I agree. And even that's something I tell people as well when they're starting, whether it's a products business or a consulting business or anything, or an agency. Like, it always takes way longer than we think to get the offer. Like, whatever we're going to offer, it takes 3 or 4 times to get dialed in. So if we assume 6 months is going to be when the business is successful, we should assume another year on top of that, because that's only when we're going to get the offer right, in 6 months. And that's after that is the growth.
Yeah, it's like building a house, right? Your contractors tell you, oh, it'll be ready in 6 months, 8 months. And 2 years later, you're going, why? What's happening? Where's my house? So I'm trying to go in that perspective of saying, okay, it's not, it's okay when things don't go according to plan. And sometimes I'm type A.
Yeah.
So I've always had kind of everything planned out and scripted out. And I have to give myself grace and other people grace to say, you know what? Life happens. This is not going to make or break you. Just keep pushing forward. And as long as you're moving forward, right, or trying to move forward, it's okay if it's a year, 2 years, 3 years. It's just, it'll happen when you want it to be right. That's another thing I'm learning. Do it right. So, I had like my little plush doll. I remember the first idea, they sent back this prototype, and I was like, this is cheap. I don't want this, And they said, oh, well, that'll take too long. It's too expensive. And I said, I don't care. I want a product that's right. So I had to step back and say, do you want a good product, or do you want a quick product? And so it's those kinds of decisions where you say, it's okay that the timeline gets extended, do it right.
And I agree. And I think that comes with age. Not that either of us are particularly old.
Very old. Thank you, John.
No, but like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, if I tried the same thing, you get sick of it in 3 months if something's not happened. And I think like the more experience, the faster time passes for sure.
Yeah.
And the quicker the more longevity we have going after projects. And that's something that anyone who's younger who's watching in their like early 20s definitely needs to take away, is that things never as quick as we want them to be.
There's not instant gratification, it's not going to be instant. And I think there's greater value to that. Like you said, if you need just the instant gratification, 2 months in, you're really bored, because even for me, like I pre-launched the book, and I remember the first couple of nights watching, oh my goodness, I would refresh every 2 seconds. Like I made a sale. And then it was a week, and it was a joke, total joke. But I called a friend and I said, I haven't sold them in a week. I'm shutting it down, and like she was dying laughing, but I said, no, I'm joking, and I said, but man, does it feel good to see the quickness. But it really is saying, what is my goal? And my goal is not instant success. My goal is building a brand. And that's not going to take a couple of months. It's going to take several years of fighting and showing people this brand's not going anywhere, right? Like it might be slow, but it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. And I think the instant gratification these days is needed. So it's up to us to set goals that give us the gratification. Not the goal isn't to sell $10,000 a week or $1,000 a day. The goal is to do one sale and then the next sale until we get to a level where we can set those goals that are bigger, more adventurous goals.
Yeah, it's very fun to start searching your site, going, oh my God, it happened. I got a book sold. It was great.
And that's awesome. So you're already up and selling. So when did you pre-launch?
This month, about a month ago. Oh, cool. I set up my website. So I have a website dedicated to Fresno. It is www.myfriendfresno.com. That website started radically different than what it was. I made a decision about last June to really say, maybe this isn't a hobby, maybe this is a career, a future career. And so I set up the website, and I remember thinking, like, is it too early to kind of build a world around this idea? And I thought, no, because if someone gains affinity with Fresno now, when a product comes out, they'll love him. So of last year, I started, the My Friend Fresno Instagram account and Twitter and Facebook. And I would post, every day, every 2 days, a picture of Fresno and Reagan, Fresno on an adventure with us. And as the book started being developed, I would share progress and excitement. And you could really tell that there's certain people who are fans, that cheer you on and get excited. But there's that idea of consistency. That's hard. I did not think it would be that hard to populate social media.
Yeah.
I'm also a children's brand. So the things that I run into on a daily basis are not necessarily kid friendly, right? I work in homicide and sexual assault. So I have to carve out content that's for my daughter, right? Or even silly things I could be doing with Fresno that are kind of fun and pop culture. It's like, this is not age appropriate. So I have to make sure that I'm crafting content in such a different realm of my life for this, right? And growing that kind of fan base. But I did about a year ago, launched about a month ago. And what was neat is it really was just I have about 800 followers on Facebook. They were so excited when Fresno launched. And my illustrator has a much bigger following. He has a very established name, Zach Kincaid. So he's got a beautiful following himself. And so do some of his family members who support us. But they're waiting to do their big social media launch until we have a product so that their fans can go straight to it. They don't want to risk, right? I have friends and family who support me. Yeah. But to really capitalize on 50,000 fans, we're like, let's have the store ready to go so that when someone orders, they get it in a week. You know, you don't want them to wait. So I'm excited about that, the potential that beyond my work, right? My partner's work can actually propel us too. So
that's amazing. Yeah, it's really cool. So you've got 800 followers on Facebook. How many followers do you have on like Instagram or Twitter?
Instagram's small. I have about 200, but on Twitter I have 11,000.
Wow.
So cool. I built that one much more focused on being the author, and it's at My Friend Fresno on Twitter, but I followed the writing community and I got into that, and I would ask people, how are you doing X, Y, and Z? How do you format this? What's been your best success for this? And then I'd also mix in fan-friendly stuff, with Fresno and try to engage fans that way. But that was neat, finding groups that would support you automatically because you would also support them. Really grew my fan base huge. I worked that like a business. It is a full-time business getting social media followers. And yeah, and so I haven't really tapped into Instagram. We're not old, Sean, but we're a little bit older than Instagram. Like that's kind of the generation below us that is solely Instagram. I was much more Facebook.
Yeah, apparently the new generation doesn't use Facebook at all.
No.
It's weird.
No. I'm like, that's what I know.
Yeah.
Facebook. Now I just talked to a podcaster who said her best support has come from TikTok. Now our president wants to ban TikTok, so who knows if I can use that or not.
Yeah.
But she said she's been doing commercials and launching ideas and asking fans questions on TikTok and has grown her base, she said, like 10 times.
Wow.
And I thought, well, maybe a skeleton needs to be on TikTok.
Yeah, you mean to make some kind of viral skeleton dance, don't you? Like the Funny Bones dance. But
just
my
saying.
friend Fresno. Yeah.
Yes. Will you choreograph it for me?
Definitely, I am not the person to do a dance. I was never the dancer.
I'm not even. Maybe I'll ask my daughter since she's the girl who dances with skeletons. I'll make her do it.
Yeah. But I do think that people who buying this are the people like our age who use Facebook as well for their kids. So that's all right, isn't it? Until next generation.
Yes, till we go to the next one. Till I have my next fans of Fresno.
Cool. No, that's awesome though. So you've already got sales. So can we dive into the numbers a little bit?
Sure, I'd love to.
Perfect. So you've started pre-selling. How many sales have you made thus far?
So
is it just the book or is it the plush and everything?
No, so I have the plush doll. I have these, I have children's puzzles. So I have 6 children's puzzles that are available and there's 2 of each size. So I have a 24 piece, 2 of those. I have 48 piece and I have 60 piece. And that's kind of per age group and they're illustrations from the book. And then I have an adult 500 piece puzzle.
Okay.
And that's the kind of the width of, or the I don't know, scope of the products. Yeah. But on my website, I have multiple options of buying. So for pre-sale, in hindsight, I wish I had done more. For pre-sale, I did 10% off because my initial idea was, oh my gosh, I don't want to give away all my money because I'm spending all my money.
Yeah.
In hindsight, my goals have changed some because I'm thinking, look, you're just getting started. So building that affinity group and all of those things is more important than the initial, money back. But I didn't. So it's like right now, I don't know that I can change it pre-order, you know what I mean? But it's 10% off, but I've also bundled a bunch of things. So most of the people that reached out to me said, I want a book and a plush doll. Yeah. And so I said, okay. So I did a bundle. So that's the 10% off now, but an additional 20% off. So you're getting the plush doll, like more than half off. I also did a Fresno. So that's the bone bundle. I did a Fresno fun pack and that's the book, the plush doll, the children's puzzles. So that's like 33% off. So it's smarter, one, for me to move inventory, right? So the puzzles I'm basically giving away, but that's okay because they're not that expensive to make. And it's getting more attention for the book. Like if other kids say like, oh, where'd you get that? What book is that? So, because you can buy the kids' puzzles individually, or you can buy them as a pack. And of course you save a lot if you buy them as a pack. It's basically, I want a parent to go, why would I just buy one if for, a little bit more, I could buy 6. So trying to do some break points like that as well on the site.
Yeah, that makes sense. So is the book your main goal for building the brand? It
is. The book is what I think will be the launch point for me being able to bring it into curriculums and my goal would be to be in elementary schools, to work with therapists, parents groups, to spread the message. The message is one of, things that scare us aren't really that scary. They're often just misunderstood. So especially right now in our world, right? Race, religion, sexuality, those things scare us. So we don't, partner with them. And the reality is if we did, we'd be so much stronger together, right? By embracing people's differences and what cultures bring to our table. So that message is so needed right now. And for children to know when they feel different, they can actually be incredibly magical and special in their own right. So that's about the friendship with Reagan and Fresno. So I would love it to be kind of a vehicle for me to use an educational program too in the schools.
That's awesome. Amazing. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah. So I want it to be bigger than just the book. I don't want to just be a retailer, right? I can't step away completely from the advocate in me or the mom in me, right? I want to say I did this product that yes, provides for my family, but also takes it a step further and makes a difference. So that's why I wrote it.
Cool. And so if this is just a side question, but if this is going to be a program in schools, is there a way that needs to be attacked? That needs to be like with teachers or with trials or with something?
Yeah. So I have a bunch of ideas of how to do that. One, use who you know, right? So I have a lot of friends. I'm an educator. So I have a lot of friends who are either in higher ed for elementary education or they're teachers. So I've heard that a lot of elementary schools here in our country have pots of money for authors to bring the love of learning and reading to the classroom because reading is so important. So one of my first thoughts is like, okay, well, where is that? How do I do that? I've also looked at ways. Reagan has come home. My daughter has come home with a flyer from a local author that says, hey, order now, you save, I personalize your book, right? Bundle and get this. And then they come and do a little talk at school and get into school. Thought about maybe doing like fundraisers for parent teacher associations, you know, where, hey, whatever I sell to parents, I'll give you 20% of it, right? So that they have an incentive to encourage parents to order. So I think administrators, though, of a district would be the best capital, you know, the way to capitalize on that is getting into an administrative office and saying all of your kindergarten teachers, all of your first grade teachers need this for back to school. You know, they need this for diversity week and that kind of topic, and sell it to them with a packaged curriculum that says, I can do it, your teachers can do it, you let me know how I can help you. And then try to sell it as something that they need.
No, I agree. That sounds good. We'll get into the ideas later. But one idea that comes to mind for that is that, you know, we are the time of, you know, choose yourself, do what you want. And you have these followers already. And one of the best ways in order to sell somebody on something is prove that people are willing to give you money for this type of thing. So for example, if you did develop a basic curriculum and you've got these 11,000, 12,000 people plus your followers, plus plus what's his name, Zach's.
The illustrator.
Zach's following, like selling something like basically the message you just gave me, which is that we want to encourage diversity. We want to try this. This is a program we want to sell to schools. But, you know, if you'd like your kids to enroll in the Zoom version of it for $10 or something like that, is a way of showing people give you money, trying the curriculum. I mean, if you can get your message out, you could just appear on podcasts and sell that. Because you only need 10 people to sign up for it to be a success. And maybe you get more.
Okay. And would I be reading to the kids and then talking to them about why they're special and those kinds of things? Or
well, it'll be the curriculum you design. So whatever you want it to be. It could be several classes. If it's $10, it could be like a once a week for 4 weeks or 8 weeks. And you develop as you go, and you get feedback from the parents, and the parents give you feedback, and then it becomes this little community. And then use that to sell the future. Or even give them the Zoom recordings in order to sell it in the future.
Oh my gosh, John, I'm in.
Sure. But this isn't a e-commerce play. This is just an idea. Cool. So we'll get back into the e-commerce bit and we'll go further into the other way later. So you've got 6 puzzles, you've got the plush, you've done the pre-sale, you've got the book. So how much inventory do you have currently of all these things?
So I'm going to have an SUV basically delivered to the house is what's going to happen. But when the delivery truck comes, so right now I have 2,500 plush dolls available. I've sold 150 of those. So I'm down to 2,350 of the plush dolls. And then I have 10,000 books coming because my thought was, if I believe in myself, go big. Right. So I said, if I do that, then I have to sell them.
You do?
Like, get 100 and get, right. And then I have 500 of each of the children's puzzles. So that's 3,000 puzzles coming. And I got 500 adult puzzles. And my thought, large scale, I'm also developing a coloring book. So Zach is doing a coloring book that's not out yet. And little kids like temporary tattoos and a sticker sheet. That's kind of the big vision. Because my thought was I can't take just a book to a vendor fair or to a art fair. I need a business, and I want it to be legitimate of saying like, oh my God, that's a brand. So I knew I wanted items. So even like the adult puzzle, some people were like, I don't know if that's going to sell. And I said, it doesn't really matter. For the price I'm putting in, the presence of that there is like, okay, that adds volume to my business. Yeah.
That's awesome. So You've got a decent amount of inventory. Like, how much are you buying that for, and how much are you selling it for approximately? What's your margin on this stuff?
A lot. It depends on the product. The book is cheap to make.
Yeah.
So I went with China. So if you think about it, the big thing is shipping ends up eating all my money to get it from China here.
Yeah.
But the book, including shipping, I'm charging $19.99 for it because Zach's a huge artist. So it's an art book too.
Yeah.
But it's a jacketed book, hardcover book, $19.99 American dollars. And I make it and ship it to me for $193.
Wow. Okay. That's very good.
Correct.
And the quality is good for $193 for a book?
It's amazing.
Really good.
It's amazing. I actually made them do the most expensive weighted paper inside for the pages. I made the cover the thickest board it can be. And the cover, I made it the thickest. And I also did matte pages so that it's not that slick, like bargain bin paper book. That's what I'm talking about, like with decisions of saying like, oh, like I had a friend look at a basic one and she's like, well, this one's fine. I said, I don't want it fine. I want someone to hold this book. You know what I mean? And even decisions like, here, I'll show you real quick. Even decisions like when the book jacket comes off, right? Like I did the inside cover, things like that. When the book jacket comes off, I paid extra to have, the materials printed on the front so that kids lose their dust jacket, right? Yeah. But it's definitely more to do little touches like that. I didn't have to do a book jacket. To me, it looks expensive doing that. So, it's gorgeous quality. I never thought it would be that high quality. Yeah. So the deal there is that I'll sell it. Let's see, I sell it for wholesale. Like if I go to a bookstore, I'll sell it for $10, right? It's half off. Yeah. And Zach and I split the margins of that $8 margin between wholesale and cost. We split it 65% me, 35% him. And then I get any retail. If I sell it myself, I get all that retail myself. So I can be making, let's see, off each book, I could be making my $5.25 after cost, right? Yeah. And whatever I sell on top of $10, if I sell it for $20, then I get an extra $10. If I sell it on sale for $16, I get an extra $6. So huge margin with the book. Huge margin with the book.
So you split revenue though. So you split revenue split. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, for the wholesale cost. We always split wholesale.
Yeah, so he always no matter what you do, every time you sell a book, he gets locked in. How much is
$2.82. $2.82 for him. I always get $5.25. We shouldn't
it's a good deal for both of you. Yeah, it's a good deal for both of you because he's locked in his margin. He's not risking a loss.
Yeah. Yeah. And he didn't have to, I'm putting all the money up front and those kinds of things. So for him, it was like, hey, put the work in now. It's passive income for you every day past this. The plush doll was more expensive. I sell him for $16.99. He's 12 inches. He's really high quality cotton and he's embroidered everywhere. So front and back, he's an embroidered skeleton. So because of the handmade, like the hand detail embroidering everywhere.
Oh, nice.
He's gorgeous and he's really firm, but soft. So he's hilarious. He stands up by himself. Those kinds of things. But and he makes you smile, right, John?
Yeah, he's great. I like him.
He's
like funny bones.
Right. He's real cute. I sell him for $16.99 if it's full price, but it's $4.92 to make and ship to me. Okay. So wholesale for him is $8.50. And so Zach always gets $1.25 off of Fresno. I always get $2.33 off Fresno. But I can make up to an additional $8.50 if I sell them full price. So still a really good markup.
Yes, still good.
Puzzles, I'm selling them for $6 each, or the bundles $27. So for 6 of them. So there's really no need. You're actually, if you buy 4, you get 2 free, basically. Yeah. But they cost $1.56 to make, and that wholesale is $3. So I always make 94 cents off of them. Zach makes 51 cents off of them. And then kind of, again, whatever I do. And the adult puzzle is $13.99. It's $4.90 to make and ship. And so that wholesale becomes $7. I'll make $1.36. Zach makes 74 cents. And then I believe that's it. And then again, of course, when we're bundling and stuff like that, I'm losing retail, but he and I are always getting the same base value for what we sell it for.
Okay. Oh, that sounds really good. I mean, your margins are there, which is awesome, especially on the book.
Yeah, the book is something that, because we have 2 more coming out. So that was something really important to me. I was reading, books don't books don't make you rich on the first one, right?
Yeah.
So it was like making sure there's a legacy and a love for that character.
Mm.
And so I have Fresno Finds His Heart and Fresno's First Christmas coming out, and both super, super exciting. I'll do the same quality book with them. So it'll be neat to have a series that people can buy.
So 2 more books coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So it seems like you've got your SKUs taken care of. Now is the point. Now is the time to market.
Yes.
So how much have you invested thus far in inventory?
So I want to say about $30,000. And then there's all those hidden startup fees where you just don't think about it. Like I had to buy a new iPad and, you know, cash register and all of those kinds of ideas to get started. But I'd say about 30,000 in inventory, ready to rock and roll. But I was shocked because in my head, I'm thinking that's so much money, but I've got to remember that I didn't, because I said, oh my God, I just spent all this money. And someone was like, no, you didn't. You bought inventory. So you liquidated it. And that was something that I really had to learn. I didn't drain my bank account or something. It's like, it's upstairs. So go sell it.
Yeah.
Then you get your money back. And just with my pre-sales, just as a business conversation, we get to talk numbers, I did 30,000, but I look at my bank account and I made 3,500 and I've only sold 150 books and I've only sold 150 plush dolls. And you're like, that's 10% of what I've spent.
Yeah.
And maybe 1% of my inventory or 0.5% of my inventory, So I'm going, okay.
That's great. It's really good. Especially since you've spent nothing on marketing yet, apart from your own time.
Yeah. No,
which is super valuable as well.
Yeah. I'm relying on people loving me, John, to start supporting us.
Yeah. I mean, this could be a nice business without you doing any marketing if you just do these type of appearances. But what's your goal? Like, do you have a budget for marketing, and do you have like a sales goal that you want to hit within the next year?
I would love to have my inventory paid off in this first year with COVID being there and that kind of stuff. I know that my personality, if I can get out and do things, I have a much better shot of making sales people to, face to face with people. Yeah. I'm learning virtual has its beautiful options too.
Yeah.
But to me, I mean, my dream would be to replace my salary, which is 70,000, so that I don't say like, oh my God, I gave up this solid career. Right.
Yeah.
But the reality is I also realize over time I will do that. So I think necessity is like 35,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Over the year, I think dream would be replace my salary. So that I said, good girl, you made a great decision. Those kinds of things. But I would say cover my inventory, and I'd go, dang, good investment. Let's see what comes next. Yeah.
And so what would the average sale be?
I'm selling about,
say, a book plus a plush or whatever. What's that come
about
to?
$39, $40. Yeah. And then of course, like $6 shipping in the States. I'm able to do media mail for a lot of it because it's educational related to the book. Yeah. But so about 40 every time I see like a sale, I go, it says, oh, you have $39 in your bank. And I went, oh my God.
So what you're saying is basically 1,000 sales will get you to the baseline of where you want to be. 2,000 sales would be where you really, would be where the ideal, and then double that again. So 4,000 sales would be like super success for the next year.
See, John, I never even thought of it like that. Yes, I need to make 2,000 sales to meet my dream goal. And then who knew that 4,000 would be a holy cow.
I mean, that's how we usually do it. Like, bam, bare ass minimum, 1,000 sales, cover costs, 2, goal, and 3, you're like, this is where 4x, which is double the last goal, the real goal. So 4,000 sales.
Oh my God.
So
okay.
1,000 sales, 12 months, that's only 80 sales a month, which is 2.2 sales a day or something like that. And you sell 2 units a day.
Okay.
So 2 units a day, about say 100 sales a month.
Yes.
So so basically the thing is to put a strategy together to how to make 100 sales a month or 25 sales a week.
Okay.
So, I mean, it depends how you're going to do this, whether you're going to build momentum or whether you're going to do like events, like launch events.
Right.
You've got quite a lot of following behind you, so you can leverage this to do like launches if you wanted to.
Yeah. I'm part of a mom's network, right? Just being a mom, you get other moms to go, all right, let me see what she's doing. Right. And my thought is that do a couple things. I mean, even thinking about now having kind of a sneak peek virtual event where I would read the book to, kids and parents and talk to them about kind of my excitement around the book and give away a couple plush dolls because I have them.
Yeah.
Those types of things. A couple people have said, like, don't read your book online. No one will ever buy it. And I thought, I don't know that that's true, because if I'm watching you read it, my idea is, as a mother, I go, that's precious. Yeah. I want that for her. What are your thoughts on that? You think that someone wouldn't buy it if I read it to kids online?
I think people will still buy it personally. I mean, I think these days people give away 80% of everything, whether it's a course, whether it's anything, and they just make people pay for the last 20%, which is the implementation.
Yes.
Especially most audiobooks are available now online. If you go onto YouTube, you can pretty much find any audiobook you want to.
Okay. So I was thinking doing that. I was definitely thinking about a virtual launch party and doing something, where there's different, my illustrator might call in. I ask people to kind of shout out, what makes them special, or tag someone who's special in their life, what makes them unique, those kinds of cool things to tie back into my message of the book. Read some of the book to people, and then, and even doing things like virtual story times where I ask a mother to host it for me and give her some kind of prize, for being my host, and ask her, could you invite 10 other moms and their kids, and I will do a story time for the kids. And then hopefully then send out, hey, if if your kids had fun, here's this, here's that. Because in all honesty, that's 30 minutes of my time. Yeah. And I'm reaching people I would have never met because of another mom who said, oh, you can meet these 10 friends from, Montana and Canada and these kinds of things that I would have never met. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That sounds really good. So, what's your biggest priority? Is it to make sales for these products, or is it to do this project of getting into schools, building a curriculum around the products?
My biggest goal. I was like, can it be both?
Biggest priority, one thing, if you had to do one of them in this next year.
I think it would be right now selling it, because I think by selling it, I can then go to schools and say, I've sold 2,000 copies, and there's this and that. I think the more you can build and I might be wrong, but in my head, I'm thinking of as seen on TV. Oh, I already sold 10,000 copies, in round 2 of sales, whatever. To me, it's that, oh, you missed out, or don't miss out because all these people are loving it. Yeah. Might help me get into the schools, or things like when I sell it or try to get a celebrity or influence endorsement, it takes one celebrity to say, my kids love this book, or, oh my God, we need more Fresnos in the world, to be sold out of inventory overnight. I know that, Blake Sheldon here in America just picked up this book from a indie author. It was a precious little book, but very basic little book. And he just said, what a cool book. And the next day she sold 200,000 copies. It was out of control. So that's one of my goals, is using networks of people I've selected to be a part of this project. So Zach, and these kinds of ties, to say, could I get one celebrity mom to say, this is a great book? Could I get an influencer online to say, this is a great book? And getting my fans engaged. So I put on my website, pictures of people who've already ordered the plush, and they'll send me a picture of their kiddo snuggling the plush. And I say, can I share that on social media? Oh yeah, sure. I always get permission, because
for sure.
some people don't want their kids online. But so it's cute. So on the website now, there's Friends of Fresno, and it kind of rotates through. So I've had people be like, my son's on, oh my God, he's on the website. So cute things like that. I'm hoping to build larger affinity, so when an administrator goes to the site, they say, holy cow, this is something.
And this is a general question really about strategy. Do you think that this needs to go through schools, or, a lot of us these days, I'm not sure. I think the older I get, the less I believe in education.
I know. No, I know.
Mass education.
Traditional education. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. More I believe in education, finding things that fix things. Because I don't know about you, but we're always doing online courses, trying to learn things online. Yes. Is there a way of leveraging those customers, like the parents that already believe in investing in courses themselves, buying these courses, and saying, this is the same thing for your kid?
I absolutely believe I think there's a deep desire as a parent. So I was raised in the South of the United States, and very insulated and kind of exposure to different people and different things. And so as an adult, that's something I have craved, to make sure that Reagan meets people and is loved by people who do not look or act like us. Right. So, traditional people be like, oh my God, you're letting her, X, Y, and Z. I'm like, yes, that's an amazing human. You know what I mean? She needs to know them. So I've actively sought those types of opportunities. So there's got to be other parents, you know, even homeschooling parents that try to build curriculums around their own messaging.
Yeah.
I could definitely say, especially with the message of inclusion and diversity and acceptance, self-love, I could see a lot of parents saying, yes, how do I get my kid to learn that?
Because I feel like these days, the best way to sell something to anybody is sell it. Like charge money, even if it's a small amount of money, prove that people are willing to give you money, because people don't value free stuff anymore.
No.
There's so much free stuff online. Like I could give you a course, which I think is worth $10,000 and teach you something, even this session. Like if I charge you $5,000 for it, you would take it away and you'd do it. As opposed to when something's free, people don't necessarily take away the same amount from it because they don't value it as highly.
Yeah, it must not be worth it because it's free.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah, nothing worth it's free. Nothing good is free.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's 100% true. Like that's why coaches charge money. That's why people charge money, because if someone's paying you money, they believe what you say and they value what you say because they bought in. So yeah, anyway, that's what I think of as a way, if you wanted to become education, why bother
going to the school?
Going to the school. And
that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Especially when you have this following, because you can, you know, you're very, you know, camera-genic. You can do these videos. You can record video sales letters. You can say, this is a message from the author. Please check it out.
So cool.
And because you can communicate directly with your fans, directly with these people, whether it's through, you know, Facebook Live, whether it's through just sharing a video with a sales page. And then from the sales page, it's like a video sales letter going what we say.
Okay.
$10. The upsell is the book. The upsell is the game. The upsell from that, you know, just have a list of upsells. Your average order might already be $30, $40. And this is, the first run through of your course. That's why it's $10.
So you would actually try to promote the course first and then direct people. Okay, you like the course, buy these products that reinforce the idea
along with the
teaching.
course. Yeah, you don't need anything. It's just gonna be $10. Thank you for supporting me as I build this, because this is gonna be $100 once we get it. But on top of that, the upsells are the books and the plush and all that kind of stuff. But after they've given you the payment information, so one-click upsell. So after they've bought it, then the upsells come.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'm not a course guy, but I don't have the following you have in order to promote these things, because I'm always about getting the cash now.
Yes. Yeah.
And if the long aim is education, these are all different things that can be tried. And I know you have a million opportunities all the time. So it's more about figuring out what's the opportunity for you that actually makes sense.
That's really good, because everyone that I talk to now, like even a best friend just quit her job. She's like, oh, I'm going to be a financial coach. And I'm like, I want to be a coach of something. What is that? But that's I want to coach somebody. But like you said, I am by teaching kids to love themselves and love other people. That's coaching in its own way. So why not market that somehow?
For sure. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what price you start at, because you can always increase it. Yeah. Like, what's the number one coach in the US? Rich Litvin. He's got a really good book. Yeah. He charges $25K per person. There's groups of 30 people at once now, but he charged like $50 a month or something when he first did it. If you read his book in Thailand.
So I could even do like a monthly subscription, and I could commit to I'll be on 4 times. I'll put up 2 worksheets a month. Like I could have a standard every month you'll get this. And this is a subscription to the author education, like Ashley's.
Yeah, for sure. And that can be based on your trial, and your trial can just be you figuring out what your curriculum will be. You don't need to create it, because, the biggest barrier to us selling things, especially with products, you've been doing 18 months, is getting the product. And you're pre-selling now, but it's still 2 years in. Like with courses, the best thing about it is you can create a curriculum, make a spreadsheet, make a presentation, and just talk through the bullets of what you're going to cover. You don't need to create it until someone's bought it.
And the really cool thing is I'm an educator and I'm a professor. So I've been a performer my entire life. I wanted to be on Broadway, but I have performance anxiety for singing. So I couldn't do that.
You can sing here if you want.
But hey, you can't dance. I cannot sing on demand, but we will be one hell of a team together. But it is, that's exciting, because it's another way for me to say, yes, I'm stepping away perhaps from a traditional classroom, but to stay on that stage of sharing my love of learning with people will just keep me passionate. It doesn't burn me out, because that's where I'm an extrovert, if you didn't know. Yeah. So well, I thrive. You're going to get off and have to take a nap. But to get get the love of other people and energy of other people and still share my message and see people's faces. How cool. That would be wonderful.
And this can just be one of your paths. So it really depends like how you want to go with this first lot. So what we're going to do now, I guess, is just brainstorm some ideas. And I get overexcited, so I start to push one thing and then we go into something else. So we're going to go into a few different things now. So this is, one possible way is the education route, like building something around education, just basically offering, creating a one-page lander saying this is what you're going to do with a buy button on it, and then promoting it through everything to the audiences as a way of pushing it and talking about the brand, what you want to get across with this, how you want to educate kids, why this is so important and why it's important to you.
No, I made like a one page. Is that what you're talking about? I made a one pager that's like, here's the message. Here's who I am. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is what I can bring to your school, like guest speaker, author signing. Blah, blah. Is that what you're talking about? Do something like that? The one quick snapshot of what we would be doing?
Yeah. So usually the best way of doing it would be a video sales letter. So, you plan it out first, watch a YouTube video on how to make a video sales letter and record it. Then underneath, write a long form sales letter, basically the same thing. Either subscribe it on rev.com and then edit it, or write it yourself. And then just buy it. I mean, it's only going to be super cheap the first time you do it. So it's not going to be hard. And it could be a way of, building up towards the education angle, and, and then you've got this resource. And then if you want to sell it in the future, you can do it. If not, whatever, you can give it away free. It's another value add. It could even be the lead gen on your website for take my free course, then buy my stuff.
I love that.
These are all different ways of doing it.
Here's like a snapshot of, a practice course or something.
Yeah. And then it all depends. So for the actual e-commerce side of it, this is the point where if you wanted to, you could start working with maybe an agency, or, if you want to very rapidly grow this through your followings, or you could, do what you're doing already and carry on posting to socials. And I'm sure you'll meet your goal just by doing that this year, because you've already done 3.5K in the first month. Growing your socials, you'll hit your 1,000 units, 1,000 orders. So my biggest question, I suppose, is what's your budget for marketing?
I'm flexible. I'm not running with money, but someone was telling me, like there's a certain percentage of your sales you want to aim for, or your goal of the year. If you want 30,000, it's like 10% or 5%. I don't know if that's accurate. But to me, I have a list of kind of free ideas that I want to do. And then I don't know what kind of paid marketing to do, but if you tell me like what types of paid marketing, see, to me, my whole thing is, I think the only things I buy anymore are just word of mouth. Do you know what I mean? And having another mom tell me, like, have you seen these kind of shoes? Have you bought these jeans? Right. That's how we buy now. But then you're like, we fast forward through commercials, all types of things. So I'm lost when it comes to paid marketing. I'm willing to spend a couple $1,000s on that right away. And as it grows, whatever. But my honest answer is I'm lost. I have no idea what to pay for.
And that's what you just shared is probably the solution then. What is paid word of mouth marketing? So some of that is like Amazon, for example, using your following to buy through the Amazon platform and leave reviews once you have a product there. If Amazon's a long-term strategy, but it's not that difficult in order to leverage this type of following in order to rank your book on Amazon, become the #1 bestseller in a subcategory. So you do that through these sites that actually help you give away your book.
Wow. Okay.
So you can load up your inventory into Amazon through FBA into the warehouse. You can then use sites, because there's all these people who make their entire income through Amazon. It's called KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, where they do it through Kindle. But I'm sure you could do it with a physical book as well. Then there's mailing lists. You pay a certain amount of money to use this mailing list in order to slam Amazon on one day with as many sales as possible for your book.
Okay. And then that day you're the best seller, so you could always say I was the best seller.
Then you are the best seller in that category. And that's how everyone says they're a best-selling author.
I was wondering, because every author I follow on Twitter is like, award-winning bestseller. And I'm like, how? There aren't that many awards.
For sure, yeah. And the other thing I heard recently, which, what was it? Somebody told me like this about 3 or 4 weeks ago, is you can actually hack the New York Times bestseller list as well. And apparently most of the authors that get on the New York Times bestseller list have hacked it.
Really?
And you use an agency. So apparently what happens is you use an agency. That agency, they advance you by 40 grams worth of books on a certain weekend. They buy the entire stock of books of your book for a weekend, and then resell it on, and take a percentage of the revenue you paid them in order to do that. And it costs like $20,000 or something like that. But they get you. The idea is they get you to the New York Times bestseller list.
You literally are the New York Times bestselling children's author.
Yeah, and they pump it. I mean, it's just it's a hack. But that's what I heard, is that a lot of the people do that. So a lot of people that get onto the New York Times bestseller list, they don't actually sell that many copies of their book.
No.
They use an agency to pump onto the list.
Okay. The Amazon. So in your terms, these are the two options I've seen with Amazon. You can send your products to a warehouse and you give them almost all of it, 60% something to house it and sell it.
Oh no, 15%.
That's it?
Yeah. Roughly, and then the money's put it in the box. So as you grow, you're going to need to use a third-party fulfillment warehouse, because otherwise you're going to go crazy.
Yes.
Putting it in your bedroom and packing it up, especially
it's all
all upstairs. You get to 3 units a day. That's not that bad. But if it backs up a bit, and then you're going to be going crazy doing it every day. So you want to use a third-party warehouse, and also your time is very valuable. You could be using it to create more content or do whatever you want.
That's true.
Amazon's actually a very good, well-priced 3PL.
Okay. Now there's two options. You can give it to them, or you can actually keep it and fulfill the orders from your home.
Yes.
Do you think it's smarter? Two questions.
Yeah.
Do I hit up my friends and family and leave it only on my website now so that I'm getting full price for sales in the short term? Or do I just say that's silly because you're selling, who cares? And go ahead and start Amazon immediately, do parties asking for Amazon reviews and Amazon sales and those types of things. What would be your strategy? Wait for Amazon, do Amazon?
My strategy would be to do both. So your current site is what platform are you using for it?
It's Weebly. I'm hosted through just a website hoster.
Okay.
And it's Weebly is like one of the editor, the website editor.
I'm sure they have a plugin or a piece of the third-party software which will integrate between there and Amazon.
Okay.
So what you can do is use Amazon as your 3PL for your website. So you never need to touch your inventory again.
Really?
And your fulfillment fees will be less. So you'll want to you'll have to increase the price a bit and make shipping free. It's always better to have free shipping.
Okay.
So the good thing about Amazon, if you use them as a 3PL, is that there's no minimums. You could send in 1 unit into their warehouse. It's not like you're using something you're paying a retainer for. They just charge you based on volume.
Okay.
Although for October, November, December, they 3x their fees for Q4 because of Christmas.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to, you could send 100 units of each, for example, into Amazon. Okay. Then back end, hook up Weebly in. So if anyone orders, automatically shipped out from Amazon, you never need to think about it. You just track your numbers.
Wow.
And at the same time, you will be live on the Amazon platform.
Okay.
So you'll have everything live at once, and you can automate all of that and get it out of your hair and just ship in bulk to Amazon.
Okay. So you would do the thing where they house my stuff, give it to Amazon and walk away with some of that.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Because you're going
to not the one where Amazon places the order, then I have to fulfill it and I have to ship it out. Just send them inventory. Yeah,
because the biggest problem with doing it yourself is that it's not Prime. And I'm sure you're an Amazon shopper, and when things aren't Prime, you're like, oh, really? How long is it going to take to arrive? I'm not going to do it. Yeah.
So will that get me around the international problem where then John can get a book and not have to pay $49?
Well, I'm in Vietnam, so it's going to be a pain in the ass for me. It's going to be a bit harder for me to get a book.
What's that?
But in some ways. So, I mean, you can also ship yourself international orders. You just have to go into the back of Weebly e-commerce. I'm sure they have a shipping rates table, and you have to upload a shipping rates table from whatever shipper you want to use. So you get the right shipping rate per country. Amazon don't do good international fulfillment really yet.
Okay.
If you do decide that UK or Australia are amazing markets for you, you can just ship bulk to the UK and use a third-party warehouse there.
Okay.
So use like Amazon's warehouse in the UK, same thing. Yeah. Just ship like 100 books, 200 books there, and it's cheap.
Okay. 3PL is what you said to look for? Is that
third-party logistics company.
Okay. So that's what I need to look for when I put in Amazon and connect it to Weebly.
Yes. So a 3PL is a third-party logistics warehouse. So it just means it's a warehouse who can ship single orders based on you asking them to ship a single order. Amazon FBA, so fulfilled by Amazon, is Amazon's version of a 3PL, which is Amazon's warehouse. You ship bulk. They can ship for their orders, but also for someone else's order directly.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah. So when you do your margin calculations, you want to make sure you're taking into account shipping and pick and pack fees. Okay. You will make slightly more margin per unit shipping it yourself, probably to start with, but you immediately get rid of anything. So, like a lot of the stuff we do in our business is busy work, and the more sales you get, the more you're just going to be sucked into doing this.
That's true, because I could spend my whole day just packing boxes, and that's not cheap, because I just looked, to get custom boxes that fit the book, and I need to make sure it doesn't get dented and those kinds of things. And I went, oh my God, I'm spending $5 to get the packing material, for that. So.
And then you get into child labor. You get Reagan doing it.
Right, Reagan. Poor God, she has her little. But Mom, stop! I won't feed her till she packs so many boxes. Yeah, that's
exactly.
Oh my gosh.
But Amazon will put it in their standard Amazon box because they'll want to market themselves. So, but at least it's done, and it won't get dented, because Amazon are amazing at shipping books.
Oh, they're so good. Okay, then I'm going to do that, and then that will give me a platform where I could, if I did a virtual party now, or as soon as I have the inventory, I can say, please go review it on Amazon and Goodreads and those types of things. And maybe, so with each order that I fulfill, I guess this would take away the need for this as much, but each order I fulfill, like I put in a sticker that has, like my friend Fresno for water bottles or whatever. So there's that. And then like a little thank you postcard that says, to be honest, we wouldn't be able to do this without you. And it's Fresno. I could put on the back of that, please be sure to review us at goodreads.com, or,
yeah, you can do that. And you can also enter all those before you ship it to Amazon. So you can put all the inserts in before you're shipping every book to Amazon. Just stack them up. And
brilliant.
So just do them all in advance, then you'll be all good.
John, this is worth $25,000. I'm very glad I got in free on the ground level. Oh my God, this is so smart. So put them in the cover. Like go ahead and just stick them all in the cover.
Get everything ready to go, and then you can just ship it.
Yes.
So you've got that. If you're having orders, you either get your friends to order on Amazon. Amazon will take 15%, and then you can ask them to review, or you can get them to order on your website as well. It doesn't really matter. But if they order on Amazon, they can leave a review on Amazon.
That's perfect.
You don't want to just have people jazz your book leaving reviews. Amazon doesn't like that.
Yes.
If 100% of people leave reviews. But if you use one of these services, for example, to become #1 seller, then that's what you can really do, is push the volume, and then you will rank quickly. So get a few reviews on your listing. Then maybe if you wanted to invest some money, use some money to give away these books.
Yes.
Either dropping it to free or dropping it to 99 cents or $2.99. Break even or lose a bit of money on every sale, but push a few hundred units through in one day, and you become the best seller.
Whoa, that's crazy. Okay, I could even do a flash sale or something where it's
it's a flash sale, but you use one of these book buying services of people that want to buy these books for cheap.
Okay.
You can also do it through your own list, but chances are it's not going to be as engaged as if you do this. And then you can actually get your own list to buy stuff. Yeah. You can pay someone to do it. And there's
can
people.
I pay you to like me? I did that in a sorority, so I mean, I'm used to
so that's one way of getting the book moving fast.
Okay.
The disadvantage of doing it is that for bundles, Amazon's going to charge you a bit more. Okay. You can still bundle, and I'm sure there's still software that'll do it for you. I'm not familiar with your e-commerce platform, but they will be able to send both SKUs at the same time, but it might send them as separate packages. If it's Amazon, they could be in different warehouses in different parts of the country.
Okay. I just have to call. Does Amazon talk to people? Can I call Amazon and ask them how I would send stuff to them?
No, so it really depends whether you sell it just as a bundle and it becomes one bundle as a SKU. So you give yourself a UPC barcode for the bundle together, or whether you do it for two separate ones. Okay. And then you get Amazon to send them separately to the same person, which can still be done.
700 UPC, so why not?
Yeah, you're all good.
I think it would be good for a while. I just decided go big or go home, because like I said, then you got to actually do it.
Yeah, you only need like 3. You need like 10 UPCs, so you're all good for a while. No, so it's good. I'm just going to go through my questions. Yeah, so I mean, I would say to Amazon, just because I run an Amazon business as well.
Okay, and everybody goes to Amazon. And I was thinking too, like I have words like skeleton and dance and all these things, and kids book with skeletons or kids book and dance. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's words that would pull out, a search too, where someone I would never reach might look on Amazon.
For sure. And for ranking in these specific categories, that's when you want to be working with an agency and ask the agency who does books, not me. Right. What category do I choose? Because they'll help you choose the category. And it might be something a bit obscure, because you can rank well in that category with less sales. Yes. So for example, it might, educational books for kids in a certain category or something. One that you can get the badge on and be a #1 bestseller, but it's not kids books, because kids books is probably selling 2,000 units a day to be #1 in kids books.
Yes.
Cool. All right. So what we talked about is possible, like the educational angle of, this could become an education company as you want it to, by developing their own syllabus, your own things, and then using that to leverage future higher prospects for that.
I really like that. As a teacher, I really like that. That's my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So why not be using what I know?
And it's choosing yourself. The whole thing about now is choose yourself. Whatever, Chris something's book about choosing yourself. Like, now we can become our own educator, because in reality, if you work at a school, work at a university, they pay you pretty well, but they pay you nothing compared to how much the students are paying.
Right.
Like, if the students, you could take on 3 students paying their full fees, and you'd be making way more money.
Way more money.
Yeah.
Way more money.
That's where I think that's where education is going to fall apart in the next 20 years, is the fact that people are paying so much money. They could get personal, best in class, famous people to teach you for maybe $5,000 a person per
the
year.
Master class stuff. I don't know if you've seen that, if y'all have master class, but I'm going, oh my God, I could learn from Shonda Rhimes how to write. What? And and there's so much beauty too in just bizarre experiences and what you learn from that versus the traditional classroom. I have a friend who is like, you should just take Reagan to Europe and like run around the country and the world, and I'm going, she has to be in school. And people are going, she would be. Do you know what she would learn? Like, I'm this small town girl, from the south of the US, and I just didn't have those kinds of experiences. But as an adult, that really has been how I've gotten to where I am, is by doing bizarre things and trying to new things. So I can see where education outside of the walls of an institution have such value.
I agree. And that's what I want to do with my kids when I have kids eventually. And because, even like, say the best person in your industry, the most respected law criminology professor in the US.
Are you talking about me? No, I'm kidding.
Well, you, for example,
I'm
you.
Kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Even if you were paid double what you're paid now, and you were the most respected person in the industry, I'm sure you wouldn't mind taking on 10 students, paying $2,000 a month for 2 hours a month or 3 hours a month worth of education.
Not at all.
And then you can earn more money by doing that and impact more people. Impact less people, but in a more direct way. It's deeper, like mentorship, actual personal communication with these people, the best people in the industry, for $2,000
and
a month.
I think any educator would tell you that. For me, I go into a classroom of 50 students, right? And every semester I say, if I could leave with one student that I really impacted, and I'll bond with that person. They teach me things, I teach them things, so
I think that's the future, is personal, like back to the old school when people used to hire like Socrates to educate their
apprentices
kids.
Apprenticeship
like and just coaching or consulting on a level of like, because most people, rather than paying $40,000 a year, could get 20 different people to educate them for $2,000 each.
Genius.
Free.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I think the future education.
I love it. And then eventually I'm gonna have a women's retreat so that I can share getting in your own business and surviving grief and turning trauma into amazing gifts and those kinds of things.
For sure. And the first step to that is making a full-time income from this business. So cash, like the quickest path to cash. Right. And then after that, everything is possible. So it's like, what's the quickest path to making the income you need to make in order to do this full-time and then be able to do anything? So I think
I love this.
The quickest path to that, you've got a few things. You've got this following, and the following is the big, I think your biggest asset right now. You could use that to jazz Amazon. You can use that to do whatever.
Okay.
So it's really up to you, whether you go for the full e-commerce way or this other way or the education way. But I think it has to be like a full-time commitment for that niche for like the next 3 months until you see what level it can get to.
Yes. Would it be possible to start the education part without the product, or is that a waste? Do you wait until you have the product in your hand, or do you start the course? Could I start it in 2 weeks once I put it together?
Do you have the product? I
have
the books.
The plush doll. So the book will be here in October, the very 1st of October. And that's when Zach and, related people will start pitching the book for me, helping me support it. As of now, I'm just doing the pre-orders for it. So it's on its way from China.
Yeah. I think you could start now, especially you could even pre-sell the book as part of it as an upsell you wanted to.
That's true too. And because you're in the course, you get an extra 20% off or whatever.
Yeah.
Things are,
I think you could start the course, whatever, and the investment of your time in order to get it going is not going to be huge, is it? It's going to be a week's worth of free time to figure out, build a syllabus, but don't build the content, build the landing page, build all the sales resources.
Yep.
create your information, start talking about it at the end of any podcast you're on.
That's genius. And can it be part of the myfriendfresno.com website? It's just like an exclusive, you have to sign into it?
Yes.
Kind of? Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, the course can be Zoom calls. It can be you just get a Zoom account, do webinars, record it, and then you've got the Zoom calls. In terms of the lander, you can use a landing page generation site, or maybe Weebly or whatever you use has its own. If not, like Lead Pages or ClickFunnels, just something that hosts the landing site with the video and the thing. ClickFunnels is great.
Do you think it can be part of the Fresno page? Like, can it be one of my tabs on the Fresno page?
Even if it's a separate domain, like training.myfriendfresno.com, you can set it up in your name host to forward certain domains to different sites if you want to.
Oh, that's smart. Okay.
But someone who's can do basic web design could do that.
Yes.
Like join our beta course. Yeah. And then you just need to talk to people like you, don't you? Like, I
think that's awesome.
Even your friends, well, I'm sure will join for their kids to
They'll
start
be like, all right, Ashley, we'll do that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you get some reviews. Then you just fill your landing page again with testimonials, Facebook testimonials, as many testimonials as possible, and get them from your friends and just copy and paste like the messages they've sent you about how impactful it is and all about social proof.
That is so cute. I love this idea. Okay. Okay. Not to ask it again, but if you would put it on a different domain, you would have it be something different, not like myfriendfresno.com/trainings. You would have it be its own site.
Yeah. So it doesn't need to be on a different domain.
Okay.
It can be on the same domain, but you'd want it forward to, it can be on the same site if you can easily build a high quality, high converting landing page in Weebly. Okay. But maybe you can't. So you'd have it on your site / whatever. But when you go to that, it probably forwards to this other landing page.
Something else. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Just because, I mean, maybe you can do it with that, but if you use something like ClickFunnels, you can have templates that already convert and just use the template, build out using their high converting template.
Okay.
It'll have, it'll have all the spammy internet marketing stuff, tick boxes and offers and different parts and all the stuff which converts. At the end of the day, that stuff converts. Whether or not you think it looks a bit internet marketing-y, it still converts really well.
Whatever. Yeah. Yeah. That is so awesome. Best idea. I would have never thought of that. Very cool.
Well, I'm glad. Yeah. So you said you had a list of questions. Do you have any things you want to ask?
My big thing was for the shipping Amazon. Thank you for talking to me about that. I'm just going to commit and go with it because I think the way I was reading it was that they took so much of it if you house it with them. And at the end of the day, I would sell so much more. So I also need to get out of that mind thought of saying, oh, but I lose all of my retail, or this.
Well, you can test it. Send in 20 units if all you want to. And Amazon will collect it. So once you've got your Seller Central account, you can set it as being collected by UPS from your house. Yeah. You get about half the rate that UPS would charge for you to send it anyway. So it's super cheap.
That's super cool. Cool. And then, so that was my big question. So I'm glad you answered that. What about international? If I'm selling internationally, when I went to the post office, they said it would literally cost $49 to ship it to New Zealand because I had a friend in New Zealand. And I called him. I said, "You don't want him. You don't want this book. It's $49 to ship it to you." And I went to the other options here, and they're like, "Yeah, it's just really expensive to ship overseas." So, do I just kind of focus on? Is it okay just to focus in the United States, or is that silly?
I would say yes. Focus just in the US to start with. If anyone wants to order it, you can use some third-party logistics shipping companies. Just Google e-commerce international shipments and you can create an account. So there's some ones that aren't they're not UPS or DHL, they're smaller companies and they'll give you a shipping table. And as long as there's no minimum retainer every month, just upload that and then it just becomes a lot of effort. Okay. So it's worthwhile if it's a few people.
But if it's one every now and then, don't worry about it.
I would just not worry about it. Or just put the real shipping fees in. Just have it available on your website and just, if somebody really wants to pay $48 for shipping, that's fine.
Yeah. Poor things.
Yeah.
Okay. They're customers. It's okay.
And then you can bulk ship it to other countries if you want to, like the UK or Canada or Australia. Just bulk ship it and then host it there if you get enough orders.
That's really cool. Okay, this is amazing. Now I'm my teacher brain's running where I also thought, do you think it's worth, in my head, the way I was going to be able to sell it was getting out to, art festivals and education fairs and getting a booth at a, education convention, those kinds of things. Do you think that's the best way to do it? Or do you think by selling myself and getting endorsements and those kinds of things from behind the computer is the way to go? Or do you have to do both?
I mean, I've always done internet-based internet marketing. We've never been to any physical fairs. I know companies do go to them, and they're very big companies. So I think I would talk to somebody in a similar situation who's been to the fairs. So a way to do that would be to, all of these fairs will have attendee lists and exhibitor lists. Yes. So you could scrape the exhibitor list, find it, see who's on there, look up companies similar size to yourself, and then reach out to them.
Like, did you sell anything? How'd it go?
Yeah.
Because it's expensive. It's about $2,000, $3,000 for a table.
And then you need marketing stuff and pull-up signs, and you want to look good, not crap.
Tablecloth, and you need you need all this stuff because it's like just the table.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was thinking is that, can I combine my personal story, which I mean, on the podcast I've been doing, I have Fresno as a result of my story. So when I talk to mothers, talking to them as another mother who's a widow, who's been through trauma, and it's redefined her worth. Can that message be a part of Fresno, or should those two things be separated?
I can't really answer that one because that's your brand, and it's whether, because it's not going to be just for widows. It's going to be about inclusion.
Oh no, it's just as a human being with kind of resiliency and believing in yourself. I mean, that's the ultimate. What Fresno's about is what I've lived and what I've tried to do for Reagan. And ours is based in trauma, but it doesn't have to be. It's just trusting yourself to know your worth and your value, and being able to change and adapt, those kinds of messages. So I think there's a link and a human element of Fresno in me. So it's like, you know what I mean? I always, like the podcast I'm doing about me that link to Fresno, I don't share on the Fresno page because I don't want a kid to listen to that story.
Yeah.
But I link it on my personal page because I'm like, I think people who wanted that story would love Fresno, if that makes sense.
I agree.
So I funnel Ashley lovers to Fresno, but I don't funnel Fresno lovers to Ashley, if that.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I think it's your story, so you want to share it.
Okay.
Is the best thing, one of the best resources for putting together a story for the brand is Story Brand. If you've read that book or looked at their website. So either read the book or just check out the website, and they have a thing called the brand script. And it's basically, you go through, their whole thing is how to create a story about your brand. So you go through like who the villain is, who the underlying issue is. So what the surface is, what the underlying is, and then what the psychological issue is.
Oh, cool.
So for example, I'm just gonna make this up as we go along, but the issue is that kids need more education. The underlying thing is that not all parents believe they get the level of education they need in school, but the really underlying psychological thing is everyone deserves the best education they can get, or my child deserves the best. So you go through this, it gives you a part for every one of these things, and there's a script. And it's like, what we do is we help people get through X to get to X. And it gives you basically a brand script, and you can use that as part of your videos and all that kind of stuff.
That is so cool. Okay. And here's another good question. So my business is Ray of Sunshine. Yeah. And this series is my friend Fresno. So he's like the guts of my business now. My illustrator has a series of a little alien character. So another bizarre character who's going to bring a pretty story, right? But he has a series he kind of wants me to write and him illustrate for that. And I have an author who has been in touch with me who's like, I don't have any capital. I don't know how to do this, but she's brilliant. And I have an illustrator I could partner with. And I'm like, I could publish her. You know what I mean? And like bring her any story that fits my brand of diversity and inclusion and acceptance that's up to the standard that I would say I partnered with that, and use that to say, this is kind of Fresno's bookshelf. Do you know what I mean? Or the Ray of Sunshine bookshelf. Do you think I should be careful of branding everything under my friend Fresno? Or is it okay that series then starts housing other series under it? Or do I always need to be leading with Ray of Sunshine? Because my friend Fresno is really what I think is the attractive, charming part. Do you know what I mean? Is it okay to brand myself that way and not the legal business name?
Oh, for sure. I think it's fine to use that as long as it's trademarkable or registerable.
Okay.
Maybe do some searches, make sure you can trademark it.
Yes.
Because
I should do that. I should do that.
For sure. Yeah. You should check out your trademarks. Protect yourself.
I copyrighted everything. Everything's copyrighted, but I need to pay to trademark it.
Yeah. I mean, copyright it as in you put a C on it.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
but I need to also then trademark.
I mean, you don't necessarily need to trademark stuff.
Okay.
It's just it's useful sometimes that it's useful to protect your brand name and things like that, and check it.
And when
is
I'm a
protectable.
millionaire, I want to do that.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Protect yourself.
When everyone's printing my friend Fresno on stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's all about building your value now of this initial brand, because you can leverage that for then if other people want to, publish with you, like this other author, because although they say I haven't got any money, everyone has money.
Everyone has money. If you want it bad enough, you have it. I don't have a bunch of money either, but I'm like, I got to commit it if I'm going to be good. Like, that's what I was telling you. If I believe in it, put it in there, and then you want it back because you don't have it.
Yeah. And whether that person then comes in just to cover manufacturing costs so you have no risk, that's great. But everyone has money if they need money to do something.
Yes.
So
you be creative.
Yeah. And that's the reason to, like, you're the business owner, but not everyone can be the business owner. Right. Because they're not willing to do 18 months work without, before things might start selling.
John, really, it was like, guys, I wrote the book. Can it be done? Can I have the book, please? And then it was but I love, there's so much beauty in the time, just for listeners who would be listening to this. So many things happened in that 18 months. It makes me so much better now than I would have been had it been quick, because my illustrator came back to me and was like, hey, like, I love the book, but he's like, what if we added X, Y, and Z, which ended up kind of shifting the story a little bit. And then I wouldn't have been sitting there in the idle time going, I'm going to create a puzzle. I'm going to make a plush doll. And the plush doll has sold as much as the book has. So all these little side things that I've been thinking, the social media wouldn't have been built the way it was. So I'm glad it took a long time, but now I'm like, all right, let's go. And I think my goal is to have either new ancillary products coming out or a new book. I'd love 2 books a year for my friend Fresno, because I have them. I have 5 done, but like 2 that we're pushing. I would always like to have, I think that's important, right? To have new goodies coming out, right? So it doesn't get stagnant.
That's true. But also, founders get too obsessed with the product. Now is time to market. Now is time to sell the product. Don't just keep releasing everything forever. I mean, still do it because that's what you enjoy doing. But the business part of it is selling this stuff now. Okay. The business part is making the money, just so you can support everything and carry on moving forwards. Because
I just got
especially when you love the product. When you love the product, that's amazing, because it's going to be an amazing product. But you have to market it.
Sell the 10,000 I have upstairs.
Oh yeah, start some momentum, start the strategy, figure out the income, figure out the, how you're going to support yourself and make the money that you need to take off the table in order to have the time to do it.
Okay. I love that. What do you think about publishing somebody else? Do you think that's smart? Or do you think that gets me too deep and stuff?
I would ask what value they're going to add.
Okay.
So how are they going to help promote it? Do they have something to bring to the table?
And if not,
maybe take money off them. Take money off them to help them do it, because otherwise you're doing it as consultancy work and you want to support yourself. Why not charge them as a consultant? You've spent a lot of time figuring out how to manufacture your book so cheaply, how to produce it,
how to set up my social media,
how to everything. I mean, that's very, very valuable, and that's worth maybe even you just doing the support yourself, 3 or 4K.
I was thinking even I could have the author classes and the kids classes. Because again, like you said, what is that? 2 hours a month, if you're, for
sure. But it's all about one thing, concentrating on one thing, getting it to the level it needs to be to support yourself. Otherwise you'll have all these little things making a little bit of money, and rather than your one thing, which is killing it. And that's what
I guess. I'm going to kill it. Yes. For
sure. All right. We've kind of dived into a lot of different things. Is there anything else that I can give you feedback on?
I hope I get a copy of this.
I'll send you the recording. It's fine. Yeah.
No, this was so great. This is so great. I am beyond excited about the potential and would have never thought about. And the fact that you think I could do a lot of the free marketing ideas I have and do well is exciting. Of course. I
mean, you've already done a lot of it. You've already got these followers and everything. You just need to leverage them now. This is the reason you built them.
Yes. Give them reason to love me and keep doing it.
Yeah. And thanks for being such an amazing guest. It's been really cool to dive deep into your business.
Oh, this is amazing. I hope it helps somebody else, because for me, it's transformative. I could not say thank you enough.
Well, thanks. And maybe we can have another check-in in 2-3 months once you've taken some action and see what you've done and what's worked, what's not worked. Because definitely not everything we talked about will work.
No.
So it's what's worked, what hasn't worked. And
we should definitely do a check-in. And then when I hit our goal, I should come back and tell everybody how and why it happened.
What it was. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Cool. So is there anything else I can do for you?
that's it. I appreciate you, John.
I appreciate you too. Thanks for coming along.
Thank you. I will talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Thanks, Ashley.
Bye.
Bye.